We've somehow made it to the end of another year, but let's talk about all the movies that I picked up in the month of December. Let's get started. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben, and on this channel I love to talk about movies and TV, and if you also love to talk about movies and TV, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. If you're new to these types of videos, basically it's going to be more laid back. I'm just going to be talking about all the movies that I picked up for the month. And just as a disclaimer, all these movies that I'm going to be talking about today is like a combination of October, November, and December. There wasn't enough stuff for me to talk about in October, so I pushed that video to November, but then November got too hectic, so then I pushed this video to December, which is now when I'm finally talking about it. One last thing before we get started, make sure to join me down below in the comment section and let me know what did you pick up for the month. Funko Pops, movies, books, whatever it was, let me know down below. And now with that being said, let's get started with most of the Black Friday pickups that I picked up. The first thing that I picked up was Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings on 4K. I was really waiting for this one to drop down in price, and it got down to like $12, which is right about where I was figured like I would buy it. And now this was one of my favorite movies from 2021. It just missed the top 10. I love Simu Liu as Shang-Chi himself. This movie has some of the best action sequences in the entirety of the MCU. It's directed very well by Destin Daniel Cretton, though the third act gets very CGI heavy, and that's really where this movie fell down just a bit for me, but really close to top tier MCU. Next up is a 4K steelbook of Warrior, one of the most underrated movies of the 2010s. If you don't know what this movie is about, basically it's about two brothers who go head to head in the ring. They are both mixed martial artists. That's all I want to say, because this is one of the first movies that actually made me cry real tears, not just get me choked up. I really cried at this one. The brotherly dynamic between Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton was really what got me attached to this movie. Just a really good family drama. Nick Nolte, I believe, got nominated for an Academy Award in this movie. Plus, Lionsgate just came out with this nice looking 4K steelbook, which is unfortunately still wrapped, but I definitely want to revisit this one soon. And next up, we have another one of my favorite movies from 2021, No Time to Die, the final entry in Daniel Craig's era as James Bond. This movie totally blew me away because I've never really been a big James Bond fan. In fact, I hadn't seen any James Bond movies up until last October. When getting ready for No Time to Die, I binged through all of the other Daniel Craig movies as James Bond. And it's really between this and Skyfall for my favorite of those 5 movies, because these are both two fantastic movies, this and Skyfall. This movie damn near got me choked up at the end, with no spoilers, but it was a pretty surprising ending, I found. Plus, Rami Malek was a damn good villain, I thought, so this was a big surprise for me from last year. Now next up, we have one of my favorite movies of all time, actually, probably my top 10 of all time. I didn't watch it this year though. I just couldn't find enough time in my yearly Christmas movie rotation, but that is It's a Wonderful Life. I watched this movie for the first time back in 2020 when I was going through a bunch of movies that I hadn't seen before, classics like this. This is a movie that really just swept me up in its brilliance. It tells a very simplistic story of James Stewart's character kind of re-looking at his life and where things went wrong for him. It's a movie that really makes you reevaluate your life and everything that has impacted you in your life. How the decisions that you've made have kind of set you on this path that you're on. It's pretty impactful stuff. If you haven't seen It's a Wonderful Life, don't wait till next Christmas, because you should just go see this movie whenever you get the chance. Now this next movie is one of my favorite movies of the year. No spoilers for where it lands on that list. We have Top Gun Maverick on 4K Steelbook. This is one of the best looking 4K discs that I've ever seen. Both visually and audio wise, this movie has some great technical aspects in it on the 4K disc especially. I'll save me raving about the movie until my best of the year list video comes out. But this is top to bottom a damn near perfect movie. Tom Cruise's performance, the vibes are immaculate, and just the aerial action sequences are breathtaking. I was not looking forward to this movie one bit, and it blew me by surprise. Then we have a very controversial movie from this year, Thor: Love and Thunder. Now on first viewing, I absolutely adored this movie. It was in my top 5 of the year for a pretty good amount of time. But after revisiting the movie and kind of reevaluating it after everyone really crapped on it for the longest time, and they still do really, and after reevaluating it through a different lens with incorporating others' thoughts on it, I can kind of see where they were coming from in different aspects. But I still do thoroughly enjoy this movie. The entire cast and soundtrack is a ton of fun. I was talking about action sequences in the MCU earlier with Shang-Chi, but this movie has one of my favorite action sequences of the entire year and in the MCU in it, with the black and white sequence against Gore the God Butcher. Seeing Natalie Portman back in this franchise, and especially now as the Mighty Thor, was an awesome new addition. I love her. She is probably my favorite actress ever. And after watching this movie, I finally really enjoyed the character of Thor. It's taken me a while, but I finally now do really like the character, and I definitely want to see more of him. Hopefully he gets another movie, maybe not with Taika Waititi next time because of this movie being so polarizing. A very flawed movie, but one that I definitely enjoy. Then we have a movie that is acclaimed by many people to be the best movie of all time, if not one of the best, The Godfather. This 4K Steelbook went on sale for Black Friday, so I knew I finally had to pick it up. I watched this movie for the first time this year, and I don't think it's the best thing ever, but it is a damn good movie. A little too long and definitely a lot to digest. It's a very heavy movie, but I can totally see the praise that everyone has for this movie. I've heard great things about this 4K transfer as well. I still haven't seen this movie's sequels, Godfather Part 2 and Part 3, but I'll definitely get on that soon. Next is another one of the best movies of the year, Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is a totally unique and beautiful film. I just rewatched it and I gained a whole new appreciation for it. This is a movie that I believe that can be universally appreciated, regardless of race or gender. This is a movie that everyone can appreciate at least one thing about it, because it touches on human nature and just a human experience, loving each other and really appreciating those around you. It is very similar to It's a Wonderful Life in many different ways. Of course, this movie is a lot more outlandish in many regards. And speaking of multiverses and realities, I think there is a reality where this movie wins Best Picture. Call me crazy, I know, but I think there's a shot. Now we have a fun little indie comedy one that I think is pretty underrated too. It's High Fidelity with both John Cusack and Jack Black. I watched this movie for the first time last year and I thoroughly enjoyed it. This is one that I think all movie lovers will enjoy, but also if you are a big fan of music, you'll definitely enjoy this one. It's heartfelt and especially funny. I love my man Jack Black, so watch this one if only for his performance alone. Then we have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This is a gift from a very good friend of mine. If you're watching this video, thank you very much once again. You know who you are out there, but this is one that I just rewatched ahead of Thanksgiving. Another one of my favorite movies of all time. I love the dynamic between John Candy and Steve Martin. Honestly, they have some of the best chemistry in any comedy movie out there, I think. And just John Candy alone, his performance in here is truly special. He's a once-in-a-lifetime talent and a national treasure, honestly. Gone way too soon, but also Steve Martin. How can you not love his performance here? This is of course a John Hughes movie, which if you can't tell by this poster, he's one of my favorite writer-directors of all time. Yet another classic that if you haven't seen, you must do yourself a favor and check it out. Now for the final couple Black Friday pickups, we have Looper. I think this is an underrated and underappreciated action movie. It blends the sci-fi and action genre very well. One of Rian Johnson's earlier movies. Now he's really big for making one of the most divisive Star Wars movies and now the two Knives Out movies. If you're a fan of his work, this is one you should definitely check out. I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this movie, Bruce Willis as well, and Emily Blunt too. It has an interesting concept, executed very well, and it's just a fun watch. And finally for the Black Friday pickups, Dune from last year. This is a movie that I didn't necessarily love like I know many of you did. One that I definitely enjoyed and one that I definitely appreciate though. On a technical level, it's a masterclass in filmmaking, directing, cinematography, score. And how this movie is really able to transport you to the world of Arrakis is something special. It is a very dense movie though, and one that's why I didn't really love it. I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel though, that is now adding Austin Butler and Florence Pugh to its cast. Plus this was such a good IMAX experience and I can't wait to watch the 4K disc. Then we have a couple movies that I picked up at a pre-owned shop near me. The first two was Predators and The Santa Claus. A weird combo to say the least. The Santa Claus is a Christmas classic. One that after rewatching it last year though, I didn't love it. It is nowhere near a perfect movie, but it's very rare to find a perfect Christmas movie, I feel. It has its issues, but it definitely gets you in the holiday spirit. And Tim Allen as the Santa Claus himself, it's a fun role for him to really shine. And as for Predators, I think this movie is better than the original Predator, call me crazy. As cheesy as the original movie was, this movie takes that concept and has a little bit more fun with it, I found. I like the cast and characters better in here. There are a lot of intense action sequences in the jungle. This movie just takes place right in the jungle, you're right in it. Really solid movie that I don't feel like gets talked about enough. And for the final two 4Ks of this pile, we have The Incredibles on 4K and Avengers Infinity War. Now what else is there to be said about The Incredibles? One of the best superhero movies, honestly ever, one of the best Pixar movies. It's a movie that is both for adults and children. Although the time period for which it's set in, the animation is obviously stunning. All of the characters and their dynamics with one another, it's a big shining point here. And speaking of getting to see a bunch of characters and their dynamics with one another, you have Avengers Infinity War, which was the culmination of the entirety of the MCU up until that point. Seeing all of these characters on screen with one another, it's a pretty crazy moment. I remember watching it in the theaters and just being blown away at seeing Spider-Man and Thor and Doctor Strange and the Guardians of the Galaxy amongst many others teaming up with one another to fight the big bad that is Thanos. Obviously top tier MCU, though I think I might like Endgame a little bit more. And then just finally, really quickly, we have a bunch of movies to go through that I received as a gift. Most of these movies I have not seen, so I'm going to need you to let me know down below in the comment section if you have seen any of them. Let me know your thoughts on them, if they're any good. I'm just going to run through these very quickly. First, you have Green Zone with Matt Damon. Then you have Sweeney Todd, a Johnny Depp movie. Bad Lieutenant, a Nicolas Cage movie that I've heard not the greatest things about, but I think it's like a funny movie. The Day After Tomorrow with my boy Jake Gyllenhaal, definitely want to see this one. Dinner for Schmucks, another movie that I haven't heard the greatest things about. Three Kings, a movie that I've never heard of. Transporter 3, a movie that I haven't seen the previous two Transporter movies, so maybe I'll have to watch those before this one. Drive Angry, another Nicolas Cage movie, and this one has Amber Heard in it. And then you have The King's Speech, which is of course a movie I've heard of, Best Picture winner. Haven't seen it though. Avatar, a movie that came in very useful because I watched it before the new one that just came out. I do think this movie is pretty overrated, but the sequel was fantastic. Then you have Burlesque, March of the Penguins, which I believe is a documentary. Shooter with Marky Mark, License to Wed with John Krasinski, Robin Williams, and Mandy Moore. That's a trio right there. Love Happens with Jennifer Aniston and Aaron Eckhart. Eagle Eye, never heard of this one either. Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, a fitting conclusion to the franchise. Win-Win, Sherlock Holmes, still haven't seen this movie, funny enough. Take Me Home Tonight, one of the first MCU movies, The Incredible Hulk with this green Blu-ray case, which is pretty neat. And then finally, Hancock, a movie that I actually have seen, but it's been a while, and the Sex and the City movie. And if any of you are wondering, the one Funko Pop that I picked up for the month was Andrew Garfield from Spider-Man No Way Home. This was a must-have in my collection. I need to get Tobey Maguire as well. It took forever for these Funko Pops to come out, but I'm finally happy that they're here, and I can have this one in my collection. I look forward to getting the other ones as well. And that about does it for my December Blu-ray haul. I know that was a long one, but thank you for sticking it out if you made it all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, again, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hitting that notification bell so you don't miss any further videos like this one. Don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section what did you pick up for the month. And my name is Ben, people call me Meter, and I'll see you guys in the next one.